So take a simple seat, sit up on some height, whether it is a bolster or a stack of blankets, but enough height so that your hips are directly in line with your knees or slightly higher. And then join your palms together in front of your heart. Take a slow, smooth, even inhalation. Om Karabindi Samyutam
Om Karabindu Samyutam
Nityam Dhyayanti Yogenaha
Nityam Dhyayanti Yogenaha
Kamadam Mokshadam Chaiva
Kamadam Mokshadam Chaiva
Om Karaya Namo Namaha
Om Karaya Namo Namaha
Om Karabindi Samyutam
Om Karabindu Samyutam
Nityam Dhyayanti Yogenaha
Nityam Dhyayanti Yogenaha
Kamadam Mokshadam Chaiva
Kamadam Mokshadam Chaiva
Om Karaya Namo Namaha
Om Karaya Namo Namaha
Om Karaya Namo Namaha
Om Karaya Namo Namaha
Press your sitting bones evenly into the support. Lift your side ribs. Take your sternum towards your thumbs. Gently bow your head down. Bring your hands down, palms up. Raise your head with closed eyes. And then slowly open those eyes. So for today, you're going to need a chair of some sort, a belt, a couple of blankets, and your mat. So this is healthy backs. We're going to start with the chair and your mat. So we're taking Parsvottanasana with the hands on the chair. So notice Eddie takes his right foot and places it directly between the front two legs of the chair. His back foot is about 3.5 feet back, and it's slightly angled in. The alignment of his feet is heel to arch. So that means that the center of the heel of his right foot points directly to the center of his left arch. Now, if you're pregnant, you would take a wider stance than this. So if you are pregnant, you'll be stepping your left foot out to the left a little bit to give space and room. And then notice he's got his arms straight. We're going to do this pose a few times today, and we're going to go in a specific progression. So in this particular variation, you have a very good view of your front leg. So I want you to stare at your front leg and start from the foundation of the pose, which is your feet. So stare at your right foot and see if you can take the mound of your big toe firmly into the floor. This pose is about the equal stretches of your side body. So imagine the sides of your ribs. That's what the pose translates to. However, a lot of you will feel like this is a hamstring stretch for you, that this pose must be about the legs because it is so intense in the hamstrings, but it's not actually about that. So we have to get through the legs first to be able to access the side bodies. So press the mound of your big toe down. Bring the weight to your inner heel, or excuse me, your middle heel. And you can see where the weight on your heel is by looking at the color. So you'll see where the placement of your heel, the place in your heel where you're holding the most pressure is going to turn white. So you can easily see if that's on the inside or if that's really on the outside, and see if you can move the weight in your foot to be even, centered. Straighten the bones of your leg. So those of you who are flexible and hyperextend, and I'll let you know if I see it, you need to put a micro bend in your knee. Cece, go a little wider and micro bend your right knee. But look at your knee and see if you actually need to straighten your leg a little bit more. See if it looks like your knee is bent. And then grip your thigh. And see if you can start to spin your knee towards your pinky toe, but keep your right big toe mound firm. From there, ground down through the outer edge of your back foot. So we've only really touched the foundation. Now I want you to take your right hip back and levelize your pelvis. Yes, good. Now open your chest through your upper arms. Keep everything in your legs the same. Yeah, Jason, open your chest, pull your sternum through your upper arms. Yeah. Good. Switch sides. So you can step back or you can step forward, whichever works for you. Left foot comes between the chair legs. Right foot steps back. You're taking that heel to arch alignment. Arms are straight. Looks really simple. And like it may be pretty easy, but after you start working all of the areas of your body that should be engaged and in effort in this pose, it becomes quite tiring. So start with your foundation, stare at your left foot, and really press. You're pressing the mound of your pinky toe and your big toe evenly, but because we're stretching the hamstring, it tries to pull the mound of your big toe off the floor. So you have to emphasize that. And then look at the weight in your heel and notice where the heel is turning white. For some of you, you'll need to just inch the heel out to the side, leaving your toes where they are, to be able to help you access weight in the center of your heel. That's it. Good. And then grip your left knee, straightening the bones of your left leg. So for some of you, that might mean there's a bend in that knee, and then you grip. Troy, micro bend your left knee. Yep, little too much. There we go, right there. And then grip it right there. Good. And then begin to spin your knee towards your pinky toe. So with your thigh active, quadriceps tight, spin your knee towards your pinky toe and ground down through your left big toe a little bit more. Good. Stamp through the outer edge of your back foot. And then with that foundation established, take your left hip back. And for those of you who are flexible and especially who've studied with us, if we've told you, you have to be careful not to overdrop your right hip. So you're balancing your pelvis. So those of you who are flexible, it's easy to overdo that, taking the left hip back. But all of you look really good. Now stamp through the outer edge of your back foot once more and lift your chest open through your upper arms. Don't lose the work in your legs. I know we're staying for some time here. Good. Good. Come out. Switch. Here's the caveat. We're going to go lower. We're going to go to the elbows next. If you lose the work in your legs, if you're somebody who has a lot of pain in your lower back, you stay upright with your arms straight. It will serve you better. Okay? So just you have to keep your ego in check, and two, you have to decide what your body's telling you to do. So take your right foot forward, place it between the legs of the chair. So same setup. Those of you who went quite narrow with your stance of your legs, you're going to want to separate your feet a little bit more. Take a wider distance. I noticed it on some of you. I'll correct you in this particular pose. And then come down onto your elbows. Good. But I want to emphasize, notice Eddie on his elbows, his back is quite straight. So I don't want you to just collapse your back and hang on your elbows. I want you to open your chest. Yeah. So we're not taking the forward bend of this pose. We're taking an extension, a concave back variation, which brings health to the back, balance into the pelvis. So the work gets harder here. We've come down, 8-10 inches down, and the work it's much more difficult. So if you need to, take a wider stance, and then you do the same work that you just did. Ground down through the mound of your big toe. Meg, I would be in straight arms. Yep. You got to just take care of yourself. So those of you who have back pain, you need to stay upright. Because for all of us here, we're going to move the pelvis. And we're going to try to free up some space and room in there. And so we have to have access. So grip your right knee and spin your right knee. So the same work as before. And then levelize your pelvis. So I like to take my hand and put my hand right on my sacrum and see if the sacrum is tilting down or if it feels flat, like if it feels even in space. Some of you may find that doesn't work for you, but it does work for me. You can feel if one buttocks is leaning or falling to one side. You all look good. So keep your legs strong. Keep your pelvis balanced exactly where it is. Victor, take your right hip back a little bit more. Yeah. And then open your chest through your upper arms. And see if you can get your sternum to push your chin forward, even to get your chin to start to go up, to look straight ahead. So those of you who have straight arms, and there's several of you, you're doing the same thing. The sternum pushes your chin. See if you can lift your chin a little bit and get evenness on the side bodies. So if you feel where you'll feel shorter today is on the right side body in this, with the right leg forward. If you feel like your left side is stretching and your right side is compressing, move your hips around and see if you can find balance where both side bodies stretch evenly. Good. Come up and out, change. Left foot forward. Take that wider stance. Set your feet. Heel to arch, or if you need to, you just take your right foot out to the side to the right a little bit. Give yourself some space. Come down onto your elbows. Those of you who are staying straight arms, you stay straight arms. And you follow the same directions. So remember, we're not taking the forward bend today. We're taking the concave back. Good. So stare at your front leg first. Always establishing the foundation, working from the ground up. Create that warring action in your front leg where you press the mound of your big toe firm, and yet you spin your left knee out. So the foot presses in, the knee rolls out. It doesn't mean the knee goes beyond center, but it means that the knee comes into alignment. So the foot, top of the foot, top of the ankle, and the very center of your kneecap in a line. So for some of you, you have to twist, you have to turn your thigh a lot. But for some of you, if you turn your thigh a lot, you're going to take your knee all the way out to the side. So it's going to be different for every body. Good. Press into the outer edge of your back heel. And then take your left hip back and levelize your pelvis and check yourself. Make sure to not overdrop your right hip. Good. And then with your forearms on the chair, start to open your chest from your bottom sternum to your top sternum to your chin, and begin to bring your gaze forward as you stretch both sides of your ribs the same. Good. Come up and out. Now, if you had straight arms, you're going to do straight arms again. And this is the practice that I do when my back starts to go out, is to go back and forth in this pose with straight arms. So those of you who are dealing with back issues or you need to stay upright, that's what you're going to do one more time. The rest of you are going to take support to your chair, so one blanket to the chair seat. And then you're going to take a wide stance, and you're going to put, you may need more blankets, you may need a block. We'll see. Everybody's going to be different. I want you to take the space between your brow to the chair seat. Couple of options for your arms. Your arms can rest on the floor. Your arms can reach through the chair and rest on the chair seat. This one will give you a lot of work in your shoulders, but the emphasis is not to be able to reach the arms, but to have that third eye or the space between your brow on the chair seat and still be in somewhat of an extension with your back. So if you need to, put a block on your chair and raise the chair up. And now the work that you did in your legs, all of you, no matter where your hands are on the chair, the work is the same. Establish your foundation. Obviously, if you're moving down and you're putting your head on the chair, now you're really stretching your hamstring. Those of you who hyperextend, you have to work extra hard here because it's a lot of leverage on the front leg. And then balance your pelvis. Those of you on the chair seat, allow the center of your eyebrows to get heavier. Those of you upright with your hands on the chair, I want to speak to you. Open your chest from the bottom sternum, so where your bottom ribs meet your sternum, push that forward. Open your chest from your upper sternum, that's it. And allow your sternum to push your chin so you look forward and you're pulling your chest through your upper arms. It's not for the faint of heart to keep your arms straight. There's so much work there. And all of you take your right hip back. And it's harder when your head is on the chair seat. Good. Come up and out. Put your hands on the chair if your head's down. Press yourself up and switch. You take care of you. Either stay straight arms, you can come to your elbows, or take the space between your brow to your chair seat or a block. And you're going to find out right away which hamstring is more open for you. Even those of you who are upright, you can tell which leg pulls stronger, which leg there's more sensation in. Start with your foundation. Start with the feet. Levelize your feet. Make sure there's ample weight on the left mound of your big toe. And then you have to do all that work that you were doing. Grip your kneecap and activate your thigh. And spin your thigh out so that your knee starts to move in the direction of your pinky toe. Keep it centered. Good. Those of you in the chair, let your head get heavier. So if you feel like you're reaching the center of your forehead to the chair, you need to put a little bit of height on the chair seat so that you can actually relax into the support. The contact should be firm. Good, Brett. Now, Brett, lift your sitting bones. Yeah. Good. Good. Come up and out. Hands to the chair seat, straighten your arms. Put the chair off to the side. So we will use it again, so you can just have it close to you. And then watch up here. We're taking downward dog, but I want you to watch Eddie first. He's going to demo it. We're doing it with bent knees today. So he's going to come to downward dog as he normally would. Come from all fours. Inhale, exhale, come up to the pose. Straighten your legs first. So you'll all straighten your legs first. Then I'm going to ask you to bend your knees to the height of your ankles. A little lower. And when you bend your knees to the height of your ankles, then you need to take your sitting bones up. See that movement? That was really good. And your sternum comes towards your knees. Those of you with the worst of back problems, this would be a good way for you to practice downward dog for a while with bent knees. Okay? Then those of you who do have back problems, you're going to stay with bent knees. The rest of you will keep the actions in the body that you created, and then you'll straighten your legs. So he slowly straightens his leg, but his sitting bones stay up. Look at his hands, because this is how I want you to hold the mat. I want you to hold the outside edges of the mat so that you can push away and so that your shoulders are open. This gives you a lot more space and leverage for your legs. So go ahead and join him. If you have a hardwood floor, actually any floor, it can get strong on the knuckles to hold the mat. So if you need to transition to flat hands, you can. But first take downward dog with the straight legs. Good. Now bend your knees to the height of your ankles. So your heels point straight up. Knees bend a lot. Keep your head dropped so you can see when your knees are the height of your ankles. And then from here, lift your sitting bones up towards the ceiling. Yes. Good. Bring your sternum towards your knees. Yes. If you've grabbed the outside of your mat, this gives you more leverage here in your chest because your shoulders get out of the way. That's it. Come on, bend your knees to the height of your ankles. You've got a little bit more space in there. Yeah. That's it. And reach through your arms. Good. Now, those of you with bad backs, you're staying with your knees bent. We're just going to go half a minute more. The rest of you, keep the work you created in your sitting bones and your sternum. Slowly straighten your legs. Press through your arms. Those of you who still have bent knees, lift your sitting bones higher. Yes. That's it. Good. Everybody come down. Bend your knees to the floor. Now, those of you who are on your cycle, you're going to take Supta Baddha Konasana. Eddie will show it to you now. The rest of you set up for headstand. So if you're not doing headstand for any reason, we don't want you to do headstand if you're not doing headstand, if you're not practicing it. So you'll all take Supta Baddha Konasana with one bolster, a blanket for your head. So those of you taking the variation, you will join your feet together. Let your knees come out to the sides, arms come out to the sides, rest. Those of you who are taking Shirshasana or headstand, you can set yourself up either in the middle of the room or at a wall, and you don't have to wait for anybody to go up. You can go right ahead. If you need a wall, it's totally fine. Before too many of you get up, I do want to do Ekapadas halfway down. So if you do need a wall, because that might be a little nerve-wracking for you, you can go ahead and take that now. Sorry, I didn't say that before. So up you go. And just take the beginning to get your balance. Good. Those of you who are in Supta Baddha Konasana, if you need support under your hips, please take it. Those of you in Shirshasana, take your middle buttocks forward. So grip your buttocks from the outside in to push your bottom tailbone forward. So the bottom of the tip of the tailbone lands somewhere around the middle buttocks. That's the part I want you to bring forward. That's it. And bring your low ribs in. Yes. Good. Now we're not going to stay up long because I do want to do just a couple of Ekapadas. So we're going to come halfway down with one leg at a time. So those of you who are, so don't go yet. So those of you who are not comfortable doing that, you just stay in Shirshasana. We're only doing it one time. The rest of you, you must keep the leg, so in this case, it's going to be the left leg is going to stay up towards the ceiling. You must keep that left leg straight up. Don't let it come back behind you. Don't split your legs. The left leg stays straight up. Take your right leg halfway down towards the floor in front of you. Just halfway today. Don't let the left leg go back. Keep the left leg straight up. Good. And then roll your right hip up towards your left foot. Yeah, so don't let it, the hip drop. Good. And then bring your right leg back up. Give it a second. And then reach your right foot straight up to the ceiling. And don't let your right foot go back. Keep it straight up. Lower your left leg halfway down. Right leg stays straight. So there's a lot of action in the body. And then roll your left hip up towards your right foot so that you're not hanging on that hip. Good. Now, Alec, keep lowering your foot, keeping that hip rolled up. There you go, right there. Good. And then come back to center. Press your outer wrists. Take your shoulders up away from your ears. And now bring your middle buttocks forward again. Yeah. Good. Come all the way down, all the way out. Take pose of a child. Those of you in Supta Baddha Konasana, bring your knees back together. Roll to your right side. If you have a belt, take the belt off. Come all the way up and take pose of a child with everyone else. So everybody's in pose of a child. And just give yourself a rest. Good. Now take your hands under your shoulders. Press yourself up. And now you need a belt and a bolster. The bolster can go off to the side for now, but you want to have it close to you. You also need a blanket for your head. So we're taking Supta Padangusthasana B, and we're going to do it a couple different ways. So you're going to fold a blanket for your head, like Eddie's showing. And then I want you to watch the demo so that you can see. So he's going to lasso his foot with the belt. Good. And then he's going to straighten both legs. He's going to reach all the way up into that belt as high as he can with a straight right arm to start. And then he's simply going to take his right foot out to the side, bend his elbow. So his elbow comes to the floor. And he holds the right foot up in the air. The left leg straightens and reaches strong. Okay, so you guys can join him. So Eddie, can you start over? So unhook your foot. So when you lie down, put both feet on the floor. Lift your buttocks and push your upper buttocks away. And then straighten your left leg. So straighten your left leg out on the floor. That's it, keeping your buttocks long. And then lasso the bottom of your right foot. And then reach up as high as you can with your right hand. Grab both sides of the belt. And you can wrap that belt around your hand for security. Yep, makes it easier to hold. And then you're going to take your toes in the direction that they're pointing. So you're not taking your foot straight out to the side. It goes more in between your hip and your shoulder. Take your foot to the side. And bend your elbow, place your elbow on the floor, and keep your foot elevated. So you're not trying to bring your foot to the floor today. You're actually keeping it lifted. Good. And then grip your right outer buttocks and hip strong. Yeah. So that you're not just hanging off of your hip joint out to the side or really side and up, but that there is a protection for your hip as you grip your outer buttocks stronger. That's it. Soften your jaw. Reach your inner left leg more. From your inner groin through your inner knee, all the way out through your inner heel. And with your foot out to the side, I want you to see if you can inch your left heel away. Make more space and room in your left lower back. Come on, physically move your left heel. Move it away from you. That's it. Good. And then come back to center. Release the belt. Start over again. Bend both knees. Put your feet on the floor. Lift your buttocks and push your upper buttocks away. Straighten your right leg out this time. So slide your right heel. That's it. Keeping your lower back long. Lasso your left foot. And with your legs straight up, grab as high up as you can with your left hand. Good. Now turn your toes out to the side. I want you to take your leg in the direction that your toes are pointing. So it's out to the side, but it's also up in the direction of your shoulder. Bend your elbow, put your elbow on the floor. If it's not possible to do that, you can keep your arm straight. Good. And then grip your outer left buttocks. Grip your outer left hip. So there's action in the legs, especially the outer left buttocks. And as you stay there, I want you to start walking your right heel away from you, inching it, making your right lower back longer. Soften your jaw, your mouth, your lips. Good. Come back to center. Release the belt. Now I want you to just turn your head for a moment. Eddie, can you show where the bolster goes on your left hip? Because that's the hip that's facing the screen. So now the bolster is going to go right into your hip. We're going to repeat the pose. You'll keep your arms straight this time. So he'll take if you need to see it quick, he'll take the belt around his leg or around his foot. Not in so much of a necessary to take your foot over your head, but just take your foot out to the side, supporting your hip with the bolster. Right leg goes straight. And then you have something to grip that left hip into. In your case, it will be the right. Okay? So you go ahead and join him. Start the way you started before, 2 feet on the ground. Elongate your lower back. Straighten your left leg. Lasso your right foot. Put that bolster right into your right hip, really snug. And then take your right foot out to the side. So this time I want you to keep your arms straight. So really hold as high up towards your foot as you can. And let your foot actually pull traction in your shoulder today. So the first one, we bent the elbow. But the second one, if you keep your arms straight and hold up as high as you can start to really pull traction in the shoulders. So those of you who struggle with your shoulders, this is a great pose for you, actually. So with your outer hip resting on that bolster, I want you to grip the outer hip again. Mariella, turn the bolster so it's vertical and pull it way close into your hip, almost like you're going to put it under your buttocks. Yeah, like that. Good. And then go out. And that's it. And then grip. Good. Keeping your leg and arm straight. Come back to center. Release the foot. Change sides. So grab that bolster, put it on your other side. Start from the very beginning again. Bend both knees. Put your feet on the floor. Elongate your buttocks. And then slide your right heel out to straighten your right leg. Lasso your left foot. Grab as high up on that belt as you can. Straighten your left leg. And then pull that bolster close. So it's almost as if you're going to take it underneath your buttocks, but you don't. You just get it very close in. And then take your left leg out to the side. Arm stays straight. Let your foot pull traction on your shoulder. Really try to let go in that left arm so that you're not retracting your shoulder back in towards your body, but you're letting it actually release towards your foot. Grip your outer left buttocks into the bolster. Use the bolster as feedback. Reach through the mound of your right big toe. Press your right big toe mound away. So a lot of you will feel the right leg is the straight leg on the floor. A lot of you will feel that your leg is rotating out, that it's very difficult to press the inner foot. Press the inner foot more. Mariella, take your toes to turn straight up towards the ceiling, inwardly rotate, and then press out the mound of your big toe. Yeah, it's hard. Good job. Good. Straight arm, straight leg, come back to center. Release the belt. Set up for shoulder stand in the chair. Those of you who are not going into shoulder stand, watch Eddie. Those of you who are doing shoulder stand in the chair, you don't have to wait for anybody. You can get in. Those of you who are not going to do shoulder stand in the chair, take Supta Virasana. So Eddie's got a blanket, bolster. He's using a blanket for comfort. You don't necessarily have to do that. He's going to sit between his feet, lie back on the bolster, and take the blanket for his head. So those of you who are not doing shoulder stand in the chair, this is your alternative. If this doesn't work for you, you do the same pose with straight legs in front of you, Shavasana 2. Okay, so that's your other variation if Supta Virasana is not accessible for you. The rest of you, shoulder stand in the chair. If you're not used to shoulder stand in the chair and you want to watch, just watch Eddie. He's going to fold his mat in half and in half again. He's going to take that to the chair seat. And then he's going to take a bolster for under his shoulders. Those of you who are in, I want you to take your legs straight up to the ceiling today. So instead of resting them on the back bar, go straight up. So Eddie walks his buttocks through, he lies down on the chair seat, and then he slides onto the bolster. Good, and then one leg at a time, once you get in there, one leg at a time, take your legs straight up. And you can hold the chair seat, you can hold the legs of the chair, or you can simply take your arms into cactus, which is where the elbows are bent and the backs of your hands rest on the floor. Separate your feet 8 to 10 inches. Roll your thighs from outside in. Make space and room in your lower back. Make space and room in your outer hips. Reach through the mounds of your big toes. And then bring your feet back together so that the mounds of your big toes touch and your heels are slightly separate today. Danielle, hold the chair. See if you can get a little bit higher on the chair. Yeah. And really, I would advise you to keep holding the chair and lift your chest. Open your chest, yeah. And see when you lift your chest, your buttocks drops on the chair more. That's good. Awesome. So that goes for all of you. The more you lift your chest, and you might need the chair to help you do that, the more your buttocks will drop onto the chair seat, giving you a more stable foundation. That's it, Laura. Pull that chair in a little bit more. Soften your jaw, let your bottom jaw drop towards the floor. Good. Hold the chair legs, bend your knees, put your feet on the back bar and then on the chair seat. Slide your shoulders off that bolster, coming all the way to the floor. Slide out of the chair and land with your pelvis on the bolster, calves on the chair seat. Those of you in Supta Virasana, come forward, press yourself up, come forward. Put your hands on the floor, straighten your legs. And then lie down for Shavasana, taking the bolster underneath your knees. So that was for those of you who were in Supta Virasana. Let go everywhere. Allow a hollowness to come to your belly, a pooling, but allow your shoulders, back body to become heavier and heavier. Gently open your eyes. Bend your elbows and take your hands onto your torso, finding that place of peace. And then bend your knees into your chest. Roll all the way off that bolster, roll to your right side. Turn down to come up and take a simple cross-legged seat. Join your palms together in front of your heart. And take a slow, smooth, even inhalation. Namaskar.